So it's time for Overreaction Monday. Ben, I'm going to give you a couple different statements, and you tell me if you think it's an overreaction or it's not.
Okay.
You ready for the first one?
Yeah.
Juan Soto is officially back.
Not an overreaction. The guy's back. I've been waiting for this for a long time, really since he's gotten to the Padres. We've seen glimpses and games and a couple game stretches where he's seemingly himself, but I am ready to say the guy is back. I mean, just this past week, 478 on the week. In the last 2 weeks, 422, 2 homers, 10 RBIs. His OPS in the last 2 weeks is almost 1,400, a 1,374 OPS. That is absolutely ridiculous. So numbers-wise can tell you he's back, but really, why and what is the reasoning that I'm able to say he's back? What I was seeing from him is a bad approach at the plate, completely unlike him, bad swing decisions, very passive at the plate. And Juan Soto had become, in his career, established as one of the best hitters, if not the best hitter in baseball, and a guy that was just so able to work a walk and to work the count. And he has that record of most walks for a player under, 22 years old ever, or whatever. That might not be the exact stat, but his walk stat is insane. But I almost feel like he took that as like, that is the player I am. So you would go watch Juan Soto, and it'd just be so frustrating to watch him take 0-0 heaters down the middle or 3-1 pitches down the middle, when that's not who your team needs you to be. They need you to be a guy that swings and drives runs in and drives the ball into the gap and hits homers and do damage. And he's certainly capable of doing that. So he's not really the kind of player, yes, he will always have a great approach, but he's not really the kind of player that you want taking tons of pitches to work a walk. You don't want Juan Soto walking. You want Juan Soto driving the baseball. And that's what he's been doing lately. So it feels like he's become much less passive at the plate. I've seen him over the last week swing at a lot of first pitches in a game, which we typically wouldn't see him do. He'd work himself deep into a lot of counts. So there's certainly some mechanical things involved that I saw without getting too much into the details. If you go back and watch some of his footage from when he was struggling or striking out more than we had come accustomed to, he became very rotational, meaning his upper half, he's a very lower half driven guy. He's very down low in his stance, and when he was struggling, he'd get very rotational and pulling off the ball. And we saw one opposite field hit from Juan Soto for the first month plus of the season. That's not him. So to me, that even says more of what I was seeing. He's become too rotational with his swing, and the complete opposite of what we had seen from Juan Soto when he was going well. Well, he's not doing that anymore. He's back to, I think he got back to his roots. I think he got into the lab, looked at film, got back to what he was doing, and became a little more aggressive while doing it. And I think that's why we're seeing the success we have from Soto over the last month of the season, and especially the last couple of weeks. So not an overreaction at all. Juan Soto is officially back.
And hopefully that can help kind of kickstart the Padres into winning some games and climbing up the NL West.
That's another concern, though, is he is back, and they're still not
they got
playing
Tatis back,
great
too.
baseball.
I know.
So,
okay, well, let's move on to our next overreaction.
God, this shoulder shimmy. I can only imagine what this is.
The Dodgers will win the NL West. Please tell me you are ready to say this.
Yeah, this question keeps coming my way every couple of weeks. And they now have, a 7-game lead in the division after Sunday, after the sweep of the Padres. You can keep it coming my way, Alex. I don't know when or if this will change, but I can't yet. I'm not yet ready to backtrack on everything that I have said from preseason. I do believe the Padres can turn it around. I'm not saying the Diamondbacks will win the division, but they certainly are good enough to throw a wrinkle in things where right now they're in second place in the division. And spoiler alert, they might be back in my power rankings again this week. The Diamondbacks are good. They can win games. They can steal some wins from everybody. And look, we're a month and a half into the year, almost 2 months. The Padres are around 500. They're only 7 games out. I'm not yet ready to say it.
The Dodgers have the best record in the National League right now, and you're not ready to say it.
That's correct. It's too early in the season. Now, let me say, I will also add this.
Okay.
If I picked the Dodgers to win the NL West before the season, I would feel great about it, and I would say I'm absolutely sticking with that. I feel great about it. But I didn't, and I'm not going to backtrack on it less than 2 months into the year when the Padres haven't yet gotten rolling. If they're not, what is it? It's May 15th. If they're not yet rolling by the end of the month, ask me again.
Okay.
And maybe then.
I'm giving you the smug look that Mookie Betts is giving you on your shirt right now.
I am wearing a Mookie shirt because they're playing great.
Yep.
But I'm not yet ready to say
right.
it. It takes, it's a 162 game season.
Yep.
I made a decision to stick with a team that had a good offense and I believed would be great, and they have a good pitching rotation. And on May 15th, it's not exactly the case yet. But let's talk October 1st, okay?
Oh. Okay, you're waiting that long.
That's when we'll know.
Okay.
For sure. But keep on asking me. We'll see when when my decision changes.
Oh, I will. Okay, let's move on to our next overreaction. Contreras' return to catcher is the right decision. Go.
I mean, I guess, but why was it the decision in the first place to not make him the catcher? And then 1 week later, you're like, well, we're good. We saw what we needed to see. I mean, it doesn't make much sense. The Cardinals manager, Ali Marmol, on Wilson Contreras returning to the catching position, said this: "We felt really good about the progress that we've made, and it lines up really well for him to catch Jack Flaherty on the mound on Monday."
What?
What progress could have possibly been made in a week? So is this the right decision? I mean, yeah, sure, it's the right decision because you paid this guy almost $90 million to be your catcher.
Mm-hmm.
It was the wrong decision to not make him that. But 1 week later, I almost would respect it more if they're like, hey, we're making this decision and we don't know when it's going to happen. Nobody on the outside knows what's going on. We need to see some improvement, and we'll update everybody along the way. And Contreras is on board with this. But no, you get the public backlash, and then 1 week in, you're like, okay, we're good to go. It just doesn't really sit well with me. So is it the right decision to put him back at catcher? I guess. But what? Why did you do it in the first place? And I said this last week, and I'll say it again. I feel like Wilson Contreras was used by the front office as a scapegoat for what everybody knew would be bad pitching. But does that make it his fault? I don't believe so. Wilson Contreras is a guy that wanted to play in the World Baseball Classic because, obviously, who wouldn't want to play in that? But he didn't because he was with a new team and wanted to learn his new staff and his new pitchers. And a lot of those pitchers decided to go play in the World Baseball Classic, so he really wasn't able to do that. So it's this long process of learning your pitchers and getting familiar with them and building that bond with your pitchers that it's impossible to have a bond like Yachty and Wainwright, right? Mm-hmm. But your task was stepping in that place, and he was doing everything right. And then a month into the season, you're saying, hey, you're not going to be our catcher right now. And then a week later, you are going to be our catcher. It just, I don't get it. He was used as a scapegoat, and now I think they're backtracking once they saw the backlash from everybody involved. But kudos to Wilson Contreras for handling the situation the way he did, because it would be very difficult for anybody in that decision to come out and act the way he did, which was very gracious and said as much of, hey, I respect their decision. I'm working hard to get back there. And, man, hats off to him for being able to say that. But my answer for is this the right decision is I guess. Why make it in the first place? But good for him now.
I think it just confirms our confusion
that
we had last week, that do they even know what they're doing?
Yeah.
Right?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That'll be our next question.
Okay. Let's move on to our next overreaction.
Okay.
The Orioles have the best fan experience in baseball. You know what's up. The bird bath.
This might be a bit of recency bias, but I'm going to say absolutely. I have had so much fun watching the Orioles this season, and it started with the team. And we've seen baseball and celebrations on the bases and homers take the world by storm, right? But the Orioles this year put on like a performance. When a player singles, they turn on the faucet. When a player hits a double or a triple, they do the sprinkler and spit out the water. And then the home run, you got the homer, what are they calling it?
It's beer bong.
The dong bong.
It's a beer bong.
It's this entire experience, and now they're passing this experience on to the fans at Camden Yards by having the bird bath, a section out in the outfield where when the team hits a double or a triple or a homer, if you're sitting in the bird bath section, well, guess what? Then you have Mr. Splash out there spraying the entire section with water. They've been encouraged by the team to do the sprinkler, to do all the celebration that the team is doing. It's a blast to watch the Orioles right now, and it also looks like a blast to watch the fan atmosphere and the experience. And one of the first games that they started doing this, Cedric Mullins hit for the cycle.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? If that doesn't tell you you're on the right path, that's just the baseball gods saying, hey,
here you go.
Good for you guys. Good for you guys. And here you go. If you're sitting in the splash section, enjoy this. It was an entire electric experience. I'm loving it. It makes me want to get out to a game at Camden Yards. I've experienced that place when it's rocking, and deservedly so right now. It's rocking. The O's entering this new week have the second best record in the game of baseball behind only their division rival, the Tampa Bay Rays. They're playing great baseball. The fans are coming back, and it's a blast to be there. I would say yes, the Orioles have the best fan experience. No, not yes. I would say that is not an overreaction, Alex.
We got to get you out there. We got to get you in the
I
bird
need to
bath
be
zone.
in the bird bath.
I need to see
Put
this.
me in the bird bath. I'll even wear a costume. Put me in the bird bath. I'll do
You'll
the
be a bird.
sprinkler. I'll spit out the water. I'll be a bird.
Let's do it. Let's figure out a way to get you there.
If you're a bird,
we'll go.
I'm a bird.
Okay. I'll dress as a bird.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just
This
quoting
is fun.
I was quoting the Notebook.
Oh.
But you can also dress as a bird.
Who are these weirdo birds out there? That'd be fun. Okay, let's move on to our next overreaction.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Harper will make the AllStar Game.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's an overreaction. When you think about it, he really didn't miss that much time in the grand scheme of
Just
things.
crazy.
And the All-Star Game is a fan vote. And it's an exhibition. And it's the best players in the game are supposed to be there representing the sport. And Bryce Harper is certainly one of those. And let's talk about what he's done since he's come back. Oh, just hit 361 with 2 homers and 5 RBIs and an OPS over 1,000 in 36 at-bats. You kidding me? The guy didn't play in a single spring training or rehab game. Not a single one. And comes back and does what he is doing. It's remarkable. Again, that first game we talked about it the day he came back. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And it begged the question of, did Harper come back too soon?
Mm-hmm.
Well, since then, he's gone to the plate 37 times, reached base 18 times. It's a head scratcher of how he's able to do this without seeing live pitching in a game. I understand he got some live ABs, but in-game live pitching, hadn't seen it since the World Series, steps right in and is hitting the way he's hitting. I wholeheartedly believe that Bryce Harper can and will make the All-Star Game this year.
Yeah, it's July 11th, meaning he still has about 2 months to keep doing what he's doing. And Phillies fans are going to vote him in.
Yeah.
He's their MVP.
Yeah. And he's one of the more exciting players in baseball.
You want him there.
He was involved in a bit of a
scuffle.
A little scuffle over the week.
Fan exchange.
The fan exchange, and then they cleared benches on Sunday because a pitcher clapped his glove at him. They literally the Phillies and Rockies cleared benches, and he just brings an energy and a passion to the game of baseball that it needs, and to the Phillies. I mean, I do. I love Bryce Harper, and I love what he's doing without seeing much live pitching at all.
I love it. All right, our final Overreaction Monday, from one MVP to another. Aaron Judge will have the second most multi-home run games in Yankees history.
All right. So we really need to dive into this here.
Yeah.
He tied Alex Rodriguez over the weekend with another multi-home run game. So the current list of most multi-home run games by a Yankee is A-Rod had 29 or has 29. Aaron Judge now tied him at 29. Joe DiMaggio at 35, so just 6 away. Lou Gehrig at 43. Mickey Mantle at 46. And Babe Ruth at 68. So the question is, do I believe he can get to second? Which Mickey Mantle's at 46. He's now at 29. So 17 more multi-home run games in his career for the Yankees. I think you're foolish if you say no.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's spending his career there in New York now. I mean, we could be talking about him doing this in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's setting his sights on Babe Ruth. Do I think he gets there? Probably not. But I almost think the overreaction here would be more, can he catch Babe Ruth for all-time multi-home run games as a New York Yankee?
At 69.
Yeah, I don't know if that's happening.
It's a lot.
But I really do believe he's clearly going to get to second. You know, God willing, his health stays okay in his career and he plays out the entirety of his contract. I mean, we could be talking about him getting into second in a few years. He's 17 multi-home run games away. You got to imagine he's going to have a few a year. So maybe more than a few years away. But I wholeheartedly think he gets to second on this list and sets his sights on Babe Ruth. And I don't know if he's able to get there. But yes, I don't believe it's an overreaction. I think Judge can finish second in his career in most multi-home run games for a Yankee.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wraps up Overreaction Monday.